Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel BNB Daily Spoiler. Shocking drama erupts on Bold and Beautiful. Ivy threatens to kill Dylan.
Ivy threatened to kill Dylan after seeing her actions towards Will, Bold, and the Beautiful spoilers. Ivy VO. It's not supposed to be like this. Not Will. Not when I've given everything. Cut to a flash. Dylan, laughing softly, handle a toy car. Will beams. The memory is like salt in Ivy's wound. Title card, Bold and Beautiful. Forrester Creations, late evening. Office hum. Dylan Mays exits the design studio, carrying roller sketches. Will Spencer, small and wide-eyed, walks with him. Dylan kneels to adjust a tiny jacket on Will, brushing a lock of hair away. Their bond is easy, protective. Will. Dylan, look, the car. I like the red one. Dylan, smiling. Red's got spirit. Just like you. They share a smile. Dylan tucks Will's hand in the crook of his arm. Footsteps. Ivy Lawson appears in the doorway, eyes burning. At first, she watches in a frozen silence. Then the world tilts. Ivy, why? Under her breath. You think you can take him from me? Dylan notices her. He straightens, smile fading. Dylan. Ivy. You okay? Ivy, why? Voice cold. Oh, I'm more than okay. I'm awake. I saw you with him. I saw how you swooped in like a knight. Dylan. I was helping him with his jacket. You know Will's been nervous about tonight. Ivy laughs, but it's brittle. Helping. Right. Because that's never a step towards something else. You're always helping, aren't you? Helping with a little boy, helping with a family, helping ruin people's lives. Dylan's jaw tightens. He knows Ivy's been fragile since her last heartbreak. But this fire is new. Dylan. Ivy. If you're upset, we can talk. This isn't your fight. Ivy, taking a step closer. It's my fight now. Because you looked at him the way you used to look at Hope. The way you look at anyone when your defenses are down, like you're taking him under your wing. Well, you can't have Will. Not ever. She reaches into her coat and pulls out a small, brass keychain shaped like a heart. Her knuckles are white. It's a gift Will gave her once. She stares at it as if it's a relic of freedom she's about to destroy. Dylan takes a breath, measured, gentle. He knows how to calm things. Dylan. Ivy, listen. I care about Will. I care about a lot of people. But I'm not trying to take him from you. You're part of Will's life. Always will be. Ivy, voice dropping, dead calm. Always? You think that means anything when you take what's mine? There's a beat of silence that feels like an oncoming storm. Ivy, whisper. Do you know what it's like to lose everything because someone else decided they wanted it? To wake up and realize your life has been edited out of the picture? Dylan. I don't know the whole story. Ivy, stepping forward until they're face to face. You should, because I know your type. I know the way you charm, and then leave the truth lying on the floor. If you even think you can try something with Will behind my back. She pauses, and for a moment the air seems to freeze. Ivy, low, dangerous. I'll make you regret being born. Dylan's face screws with shock and concern. Dylan. Ivy. That kind of language, that threat. You need help. Threatening me won't fix anything. Ivy, a manic smile. Maybe I don't want to fix it. Maybe I want to finish it. Dylan reaches for his phone. At that instant, Will runs between them, oblivious to the heat. Will. Ivy. Dylan said there's cookies. Ivy looks at Will. Her expression softens for a beat, then hardens again. It's a cruel, heartbreaking flip. Ivy. Cookies. Right. Go on then, Will. Get the cookies with Dylan. Will latches onto Dylan's hand. Dylan squeezes Ivy's shoulder in a conciliatory gesture and leaves with Will, eyes back on Ivy full of worry. Ivy's palm goes to her mouth to stifle a sob. She watches them go until they're gone, then collapses into a chair, holding tightly to the heart keychain. Ivy's apartment later. Ivy paces. Her apartment is a mix of glamour and chaos. Silk drapes, a toppled chair. The storm outside mirrors her turmoil. Enter Brooke Logan, who arrives unannounced. Brooke's maternal instincts kick in. She's been keeping tabs on Ivy since her last breakdown. Brooke. Ivy, you left your umbrella. Ivy startles, embarrassed to be seen like this. Ivy, evasively. Brooke, you shouldn't be here. Brooke, softly. I am here because I care. You look shaken at Forrester. Is there someone I should talk to? A doctor? Ivy bitter laugh. A doctor? After what Dylan did. You should be asking him how he's so good at stepping in. Brooke, what did he do? Ivy blurting. He smiled at Will. He touched him like he was making a claim. Brooke exchanges a look of alarm with Ivy, then sits, hands steady. Brooke, Ivy, I've known Dylan for years. He has a good heart. He helps where he can. You're not thinking straight. Ivy, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm more clear than you imagine. Maybe I saw the truth. Brooke, reaching for Ivy's hand. Threats don't help anyone. Not you, not Dylan, certainly not Will. If you're feeling like this, if you're imagining violence, we need to get you safe help now. Ivy recoils like Brooke insulted her. Her eyes flash with something darker than grief. Ivy, help? I don't want help. I want what I had. I want to be seen. I want to be the one he runs to, not someone who shows up when others decide he needs them. Brooke, you can't make people love you, Ivy. But you can choose to be the kind of person we can depend on. Threats break trust. Ivy, standing suddenly. Trust? You talk to me like trust is a bank account. It's not. Trust is blood. And if you think I'll let him be ripped away, you're wrong. Brooke stands alarmed. Brooke, Ivy, listen to yourself. Ivy, quiet, resolute. I've never been hurt enough. Not by my father, not by Liam, not by anyone. If trying to stop you, Dylan, means I have to be the monster, then fine. I'll be the monster. Brooke reaches for her phone. Brooke, I'm calling Hope. And Thomas. And we're going to make sure Will is safe, Ivy. Not because we're against you, but because we can't risk. Ivy, cutting her off. You can risk it. Risk everything. But if Dylan tries anything at all, I promise you, Brooke, I will end it. Cue the dramatic music. Brooke looks like she wants to rescue Ivy from herself, but the threat hangs like thunder. Spa day. Hope and Thomas meet quietly. Hope is pale. Thomas is protective of Ivy in a way that's both artistic and personal. Hope, Brooke called. Ivy's unstable, and she made a threat. She said she would end Dylan. Thomas, she'll end Dylan. That's violent, Hope. We have to bring it to the police. Hope, hesitant. I know, but Ivy's fragile. Putting her in cuffs could push her deeper. We need a gentle approach. Thomas, gentle doesn't stop a violent plan. We need to keep her with us today. And Dylan, where is he? Thomas's face hardens. He calls Dylan and finds him at the clinic, signing off early to check on Will. Thomas makes a firm decision. He will watch over the situation and get Ivy help, but he will not let his niece and nephew be at risk. The Bee and Vine pub night. Dylan sits alone, drained. Liam enters, sits. The two brothers exchange an uneasy look. Liam, you okay? Dylan, Ivy snapped. She threatened me. Said she'd end me if I even thought about Will. Liam, and you? Ivy's had issues, but that's serious. You reported it. Dylan, not yet. I didn't want to alarm people. But she looked capable. Angry. She said things that weren't just words. Liam, we have to treat threats like threats, Dylan. For Will's sake, for all of ours. Dylan nods. He's exhausted, emotionally taxed from fighting to do right by Will while facing Ivy's escalating instability. Ivy's last stand. Forrester Creations rooftop, midnight. Ivy stands on the rooftop, wind whipping her hair. Below, the city spread like a sea of lights. She clutches the heart keychain to her chest. Her breath clouds in the cold air. The phone vibrates in her pocket. A text from unknown that reads, "You're making a mistake." Ivy laughs, the sound raw. Suddenly, a shadow appears behind her. It's Thomas, who's come to speak to her one-on-one. He's calming, carefully deliberate. Thomas, Ivy, you can't keep going like this. Ivy, scoffing? And what would you know about it, Thomas? You live in a world of silk and mirrors. Thomas, I know what it's like to feel invisible. I know the way desperation can twist a good heart. Ivy, then you know why I can't step back. Because if I do, Dylan will take Will, then he'll take everything else. He'll rewrite the story, and I'll be erased again. Thomas, Dylan loves Will, yes. But love doesn't erase you. You matter to Will in ways nobody else can replace. Ivy's face crumples for a heartbeat. Thomas sees the human beneath the menace. Ivy, near tears. You don't get it. I gave up my dreams for safety, for a family that never wanted me. I thought being good would be enough. Thomas, soft. It's not about being good or bad. It's about getting help. Threats won't make people love you. They'll make them fear you, and fear only brings distance. She laughs, a broken sound, and for a moment Thomas thinks he's reached her. She reaches out to him, but then someone else steps onto the rooftop. Dylan, drawn by worry, and Brooke, eyes flashing with concern. The dynamic shifts. Dylan, Ivy, please, we can do this together. For Will. Ivy, cold again, the switch brutal. You don't get it. You really don't. You think promises and pity fix things? They don't. Brooke, firm. Ivy, enough. This is going too far. Ivy's gaze snaps between them. The rooftop becomes a crucible. Ivy, whisper. If you try to take Will, you'll lose more than a child. I warned you. She steps back, teetering on the edge of the rooftop. For a second, everyone hold their breath. Dylan, rushing forward. Ivy, don't move. As he reaches for her, Ivy turns, slips, but Thomas, quick and trained in the theater of crisis, grabs her wrist. It's a violent jolt, both physical and emotional. Ivy's foot scrapes the ledge. Thomas pulls her back. Dylan collapses to his knees, panting, holding Will, who's been safely ushered back from the nearby elevator by Brooke. Police sirens wail faintly in the distance. Someone had called after Ivy's earlier threat. Ivy, panting, looks up with a face that's finally, utterly broken. Ivy, horse. I didn't mean to scare him. I couldn't stand seeing you with him. Dylan, soft. Ivy, we'll get you help. But you can't keep us from keeping Will safe. The rooftop scene ends with Ivy being gently led toward a waiting ambulance and a social worker. A decision to get her immediate care rather than punitive custody. The tone is guardedly hopeful. Crisis averted, but damage done. Hospital/counseling room. Ivy sits across from a counselor, small and tentative. Dylan stands by the window, speaking with hope. Thomas watches close. There is shame, grief, and an uneasy relief that no one was physically harmed, but everyone knows things will never be the same. Counselor, gently to Ivy. Threats are a sign you're in pain, Ivy. Pain that needs care. Do you want to work on these feelings? Ivy, quiet. I don't want to be dangerous. Dylan, from the window. Ivy, you're not a monster. You made a frightening choice. We need to heal the reasons why. This is not a fairy tale ending. It's messy, real, and drops seeds for long-term story arcs. Ivy's treatment, Dylan and Will's family stability, Brooke and Hope picking up the pieces, and the broader community reacting to what occurred. Cliffhanger/teaser for next episode. Later, as the family gathers to reassure Will, a mysterious envelope is delivered to Forster Creations. Inside, a Polaroid of Ivy and Dylan, recent, intimate, with handwriting on the back. You saw. Now everyone will see. Ridge picks up the photo, brown knitted. Brooke's mouth goes dry. Thomas takes the picture from Ridge, his face hardening. Thomas, someone's blackmailing Ivy, or trying to make things worse. Brooke, who would do that? Camera lingers on the photo of Ivy's tear-streaked face beside Dylan's anxious one. The answer is unknown, and danger, legal, reputational, emotional, stretches out in front of them like a news storm. What Ivy saw will destroy Miss Dylan, bold and beautiful spoilers. It was a soft, brilliant, unfettered sound coming from the design studio at the far end of the corridor. Ivy paused. Will didn't laugh as often anymore. He'd grown cautious, like a youngster who discovered too early that grown-ups may go. Ivy leaned forward, looking through the glass. Dylan and Will stood next to a cutting table inside the studio. Miss Dylan, calm, competent, and infinitely understanding, had her sleeves rolled up, cloth chalk on her fingertips. She crouched to Will's height, eyes level, and listened with such intensity that the rest of the room blurred. You don't have to be scared, Dylan remarked kindly. First days are difficult, but you are bold. I have seen it. Will nodded, holding a miniature automobile in his palm. Dylan grinned slowly, warmly, and intimately, like Ivy had only seen him do for those he loved. Ivy's breath caught. It was not the words. Dylan caressed Will's shoulder, and her thumb smoothed reassurance into the gap between his collar and neck. Will leaned into her without hesitation. That's when it struck Ivy like a punch in the ribs. This was not helpful. This was bonding. The air seemed to thicken around Ivy, pressing against her chest. She assured herself she was only imagining things. Dylan was nice to everyone. This was both her curse and her charm. But as Ivy stared, the picture became clearer and more terrifying. Dylan grasped Will's hand and escorted him to the door. Come on, let's find your father. You did well today. Will squeezed her fingers. You'll come tomorrow? Dylan paused for a brief period, just long enough to respond honestly. If you want me to. I do, Will replied without turning back. Ivy stepped away before they noticed her. Her heart pounded as if she had ran up 3 flights of stairs. She pressed her back against the wall, staring at the ceiling as the sound of footsteps passed by. Something inside her broke. Later that night, Ivy sat alone in her apartment. The lights turned out, and the city flickered beyond the glass. She repeated the scene over and over, noting how Dylan's smile faded as Will talked, how effortless it seemed. I feel like I belong. People did not steal children under court orders or signatures. Not anymore. They stole them with their presence, with patience, by showing up while others were fatigued. Ivy curled her arms about herself. She had done everything correctly. She had sacrificed, compromised, and waited her turn. She had loved without asking too much. And now, here she was, seeing someone else enter a space she'd been guarding with all her heart. Her phone vibrated. Dylan, you departed swiftly. Is everything okay? Ivy focused on the screen until the lettering blurred. Ivy, I saw you. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, reappeared. Dylan, did you see me? Ivy with Will. Seconds turned into minutes. Dylan, Ivy, I was just... Ivy, do not explain. I know exactly what I saw. Ivy set the phone face down, her palms trembling. Anger rose quickly, intense and cleansing. It felt easier than fear. Miss Dylan strolled into the main office at Forrester the next day with confidence that Ivy had no idea she envied. Dylan carried a tablet, gave Brooke a nod, and smiled at Thomas as if everything was under control. Ivy looked from across the room, her jaw clenched. Dylan responded, morning, when she finally recognized Ivy. Are you okay? You appeared unhappy yesterday. Ivy laughed gently. Upset? No, I was enlightened. Dylan frowned. About what? Ivy moved closer, dropping her voice. About you. Dylan tensed. Ivy, you think I didn't notice? Ivy continued, eyes gleaming. The way you present yourself as the safe option. The way people rely on you when things go tough. You make yourself indispensable. That's unfair, Dylan remarked gently but forcefully. I don't manipulate children, Ivy. Ivy smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. You do not have to. You simply wait. And then, poof, you are family. Dylan's face had lost its color. Is this about Will? It's about boundaries, Ivy retorted. And about you pretending you don't know exactly what you're doing. I'm helping him, Dylan said. Because he asked for help. Ivy leaned closer, her voice shaking with something more than wrath. And when he asked for more, Dylan stood her ground. Then his parents decide. Not you. Not me. That was the moment Ivy realized the truth she didn't want to face. Miss Dylan was not attempting to take Will. Miss Dylan did not have to. The shift was minor at first. Dylan found herself excluded from gatherings she had previously attended. When she entered a room, the conversations halted. Whispers followed her down the corridors like a perfume she couldn't wash away. Brooke pulled her aside. There are concerns. About what? Dylan inquired, shocked. About boundaries, Brooke explained gently. About perceptions. Dylan's stomach sank. Perceptions created by who? Brooke didn't respond. At the same time, Ivy became more visible than she had been in months. She volunteered in school events. She arrived early, stayed late, and recounted stories that portrayed her as the alert protector, someone who had witnessed something disturbing and could not remain silent. I just worry, Ivy explained to anyone who listened, about the influence adults can have when lines blur. The words were thoughtful. The inference was not. Dylan noticed 2 interns whispering near the elevator. She's great with kids, but what? You know, Dylan felt the floor tilt. The true blow came at the worst conceivable time. Dylan came at the Spencer residence to pick up design samples for a charity event, and Liam opened the door with a guarded expression. "Hey," Dylan said. "Everything okay?" Liam paused. "We should talk." They sat in the living room, with Will upstairs. Dylan observed that Liam did not meet her gaze. "Ivy came to me," he admitted finally. "She told me what she saw." Dylan's chest constricted. What she interpreted. "She says you're positioning yourself as Will's emotional anchor," he said. "That you're replacing people." Dylan stood abruptly. "That's ridiculous." "Is it?" Liam inquired, not unkindly. "You care for him. I see it. However, if we are not attentive, care can violate boundaries." Dylan gulped hard. "You think I would hurt him?" "I don't think intentions always matter," Liam remarked softly. "Perception does." The words cut more deeply than any charge. Dylan sat alone that night, his hands shaking as his reputation unraveled piece by thread. She fully understood what Ivy had seen and the threat it posed. Love without permission, care without a claim. It looked like a theft. The next day, HR at Forrester sought a meeting. "Just precautionary," they said, "until things clear up." Dylan exited the building feeling hollow. Across town, Ivy stood at Will's school, watching him laugh with his classmates and feeling relieved. She assured herself she had done the correct thing. That protection occasionally necessitated devastation. But as she turned away, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. The truth has consequences. Ivy frowned. Miss Dylan stared at her own reflection across the city, barely recognizing the lady who returned her gaze. Everything she'd built on kindness and discipline had been shattered by a single instant glimpse through someone else's fear. What Ivy witnessed did not simply expose Dylan. It weaponized her goodness. And as the waves spread, through families, friendships, and fragile trust, one truth became undeniable. In a world like theirs, being the safe place may be the most perilous role of all.